title. She whispered, "We have nowhere to go," and he replied, "You do now." The rain fell in relentless sheets across the streets of Chicago, turning the sidewalks into slick mirrors reflecting the dim glow of the streetlights. Sarah clutched her worn backpack tightly as she led her two children, Lily and Max, through the puddles. Their small apartment had been flooded during the storm earlier that evening, leaving them with nothing but the clothes on their backs and the belongings they could carry. "We have nowhere to go, Mom," Lily whispered, her small hands gripping Sarah's sleeve. Max, barely 6, shuffled beside them, eyes wide with confusion and fear. Sarah's heart ached. She had always promised herself that she would protect her children, keep them safe and fed. But tonight, that promise felt impossible to fulfill. They had tried shelters, but the lines were long, the waiting endless. Every hotel was far beyond their reach, and every closed door felt like another blow to her spirit. As the city lights glimmered in the rain, Sarah felt invisible, swallowed by a world that moved on without noticing their struggle. Hunger gnawed at their bellies, and exhaustion weighed heavily on their limbs. Lily tugged at Sarah's hand. "Mom. I'm scared." Her voice quivered, carrying the weight of a child too young to understand why life had become so cruel. Sarah knelt down, looking into her daughter's eyes. "I know, baby. I know," she whispered, holding both children close. "We'll figure this out. I promise." As they walked past a small diner, the warm light spilling onto the wet pavement caught their attention. Inside, a man sat near the window, quietly observing the streets outside. Jonathan, a philanthropist known for discreet acts of kindness across the city, had his eyes fixed on Sarah and her children. Something about their tired faces and the way Sarah carried the weight of the world on her shoulders drew him in. He stepped outside, careful not to startle them. "Excuse me," he said softly. Sarah turned sharply, instinctively shielding her children. I don't want any trouble," she stammered, shivering from cold and fear. "No trouble at all," Jonathan said with a calm smile. "I just want to help." Sarah shook her head, overwhelmed. "You don't understand, we've tried everything. We have nowhere to go. It's hopeless." Jonathan knelt slightly, bringing himself to their eye level. "Then you need someone who can help you. Someone who sees your struggle. You do now." Sarah blinked, unsure if she had heard correctly. Could hope appear in such a fleeting moment, from a stranger on a rainy night? Her children clung to her, sensing a shift in the air, a glimmer of something unfamiliar, possibility. Jonathan extended his hand gently. "Trust me," he said. Sarah hesitated, glancing at her children. Lily's eyes were wide with a mixture of fear and hope, Max holding onto her coat tightly. Desperation left her little choice. With cautious steps, they followed Jonathan to his parked car nearby. The warmth inside was immediate, a stark contrast to the cold rain outside. Sarah held her children close, still unsure if this man was truly genuine. "Where are we going?" she asked quietly. "To a safe place. Somewhere you can rest and eat," Jonathan replied calmly. "No questions. No judgment. Just a place to breathe." As the car drove through the rainy streets, Sarah felt a cautious optimism stirring inside her. She had been walking in despair for hours, and now, finally, there was someone who seemed to care. Within minutes, they arrived at a modest apartment building in a quiet neighborhood. Jonathan unlocked the door, and Sarah stepped inside cautiously. Her eyes widened in disbelief. The apartment was fully furnished, warm, and inviting. A small dining table was set with plates of food, and soft lighting filled the space with a comforting glow. This is for us?" Sarah asked, voice shaking. Jonathan nodded. "Yes. A place to start over, to rebuild. You and your children deserve this." Lily ran to the window, peering out at the quiet street below, while Max began exploring the apartment with cautious curiosity. Sarah felt tears welling up in her eyes. For the first time in weeks, she felt safe, understood, and not alone. Jonathan handed her a small envelope. "This is for anything you need in the meantime," he said. Inside was enough money to cover basic necessities, but more importantly, it symbolized trust, the trust that Sarah could begin to rebuild her life. As Jonathan prepared to leave, he turned back to her. "Remember, help is everywhere if you let it in. You don't have to do this alone anymore." Sarah nodded, clutching her children. "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." Within a few days, Sarah secured a part-time position at a nearby community center, helping other parents who were struggling. It was a small step, but it offered stability, and with every shift she worked, she felt more capable and confident. Lily and Max quickly adjusted to their new school, where teachers and classmates welcomed them warmly. Max's laughter echoed through the halls, and Lily began excelling in her reading and art projects. Despite the challenges, Sarah noticed a profound change in herself. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was rebuilding. And as she watched her children thrive, she felt an overwhelming gratitude, not just for the material help Jonathan had provided, but for the belief he had instilled in her. In the evenings, after homework and chores, Sarah would sit by the window, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. She realized that one encounter on a rainy street had altered the course of their lives. It wasn't just the apartment, the meals, or the financial assistance. It was the acknowledgement of her struggle, the simple act of seeing her and believing in their worth. Jonathan, true to his discreet nature, didn't return to check on them frequently. Yet Sarah knew he was always nearby in spirit, a silent guardian who had provided the spark that ignited their path to recovery. The story of that rainy night in Chicago was no longer just about struggle, it was about hope, resilience, and the extraordinary power of human kindness. Moral of the story: even the smallest act of kindness can transform lives. When you see someone in need, taking a step to help can create ripples of hope, love, and change far beyond what you could imagine.